Welcome to 10 Tenths Podcast. My name is Michael Beck with Adam and Robbie. What is up, 10 Tenths fam?
Just waging the storm, hoping we can make it through a whole podcast.
Why does it rain and thunderstorm every fucking Wednesday when we do the show?
I don't know. There's a real tornado like just south of here.
Yeah, there was.
They were talking about it just south of Indianola.
Yeah.
So
it was real shit.
So
we got some hail up here.
Yeah.
Did you guys get hail?
We got a little bit of hail, yeah.
I don't think we got any hail. And as I was driving up, I didn't encounter any. I'm really hoping I don't get any because my Omni's stuck outside because there's a 34-foot long camper in my driveway.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a bummer. Did you do that strategically? Did you get it out and then put the camper in the driveway?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I knew that the camper was going to be here for a while, so the Omni did not get put away.
This is so you can drive the race car to work.
Or to race.
Well,
to race.
I was optimistically believing that it was, going to go racing. But then I was like, they're talking about upwards of an inch to 2 inches worth of hail in quarter to dollar piece sized hail. And I was driving up here and I'm like, dude, I swear to God, if my Omni gets hailed out and I'm not going racing, somebody will die. I will kill something. I don't know what it's going to be yet.
How long has it been?
Over a year.
No, not a full year.
Yes.
Yeah, it has
because
to have
I
been.
couldn't make good guys last year.
That's right.
So it's been over a year officially now.
Man.
It's been like 54 weeks.
Last year, it was my year last year. Now it's your year.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this Sunday I will break the dry spell.
That'd be nice.
I feel like college guys talking about getting laid, but this is way more
breaking that dry spell. It's been a year.
It's
been a rough year.
This is way sadder, going a year without racing.
Word up.
Teach their own.
So I'm hoping that the car makes it to the track. I've been driving it a lot lately, and there's been a couple of times where something felt really weird, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but you know how you feel in tune with your car, and
I felt that way on the interstate the other day.
When something's about to break, you just kind of feel it.
I didn't think it was going to break, but like when I got on the gas, it almost felt like the RPMs went up, but no power went down.
Nothing happened.
It felt super weird. I don't know if it's just because I was in overdrive and I hit it in just the right rhythm.
Did you replace that clutch?
Yeah, with all my free time, I pulled that transmission out and fixed it.
No. I mean, no. I mean, when you put it in.
Yeah. Did you put a fresh clutch?
We know
in
you've
the
had
car?
we know you've had synchro problems, but what about the clutch?
No. I can't remember how many miles are on it. Probably burned up. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows what people have been doing to it. The other guy.
I felt like my clutch pedal is softer than it normally is. And so I'm a bit concerned. But it still grabs good.
Yeah.
All 120 horsepower. It holds it just fine.
It's not hydraulic, is it?
Yes.
Oh, it is really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think. Pretty sure it is. Or maybe it's not.
My Fiat is not.
Really?
That's why it makes... Yeah.
I don't remember.
That's why it's so stiff and it makes an annoying... Well, the spring noise is probably inconsequential to it being manual, but it makes a really annoying spring noise when you step on it.
I know that noise all too well.
But so I was curious.
I don't think mine is because I don't have that noise.
I was just curious anyway because of the era and the light duty, I suppose, of that clutch.
I think that was new enough that hydraulic clutches were becoming the norm. Plus, I've never seen a non-hydraulic transverse car.
Yeah,
like a front-wheel
drive.
Fair. I've never seen one that's not.
It's probably easier to do it that way.
Yeah.
Because of the weird places you got to mount the throw off. So I get that.
Word up.
Word up. So apparently, people did not all agree on the rat rod.
It was 50-50. I had a couple of people that are like, yep, especially about what apparently, I didn't know this at the time, but the owner of that Terragator monstrosity thing has coined the term fat rod.
Huh.
Because it is so large?
I don't know. But that's what he calls it. So
fat rod.
Most of my responses I got on that were people specific about the fat rod, whether it was too much and just stupid or whether it was the most bitchin' thing ever made.
I didn't know it had so much notoriety that people knew the name of it. Or that would even know it.
I found the video that I had originally seen of it driving down the road in town on Facebook, and it had over 2.5 million views. And it was posted on somebody's personal Facebook page profile.
Oh, bizarre.
It was not on a page. It was on a profile.
It wasn't on
and
YouTube.
It had been shared enough times that it had 2.5 million views.
Weird.
Bizarre.
Well, the weird thing that we didn't talk about was that they had they carried a boat with them when they go to shows.
I don't know if it's actually made it to any shows yet, but he has it's got to be 40, 50 foot long, like 2-story tall yacht.
Like the old
boat
yacht
thing that's completely rotted out.
I don't get that.
Just totally trashed.
He had already crossed the line. Now he's in like a different county for me. I can't believe how
like
stupid that is.
The steps to get into the cab are bear traps that are welded open.
No, that's some rat rod bullshit right there. That is full blown rat rod bullshit that we are so tired of.
Yeah, that's what I'm tired of. Like
That's awesome.
it's going out there and finding this stupid stuff and doing that just for the sake of doing it. That's what annoys
The
me.
other thing is, can we stop trying to repurpose beer cans?
Or beer taps or
Just
beer
let's
whatever.
No more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, my radiator overflows a Pabst can from. No, we're not.
Everybody does
We're
that.
not doing
Doesn't,
that.
Like whether it's drifting
I
or
was gonna
show
say,
cars,
that's
that's everywhere.
I would say in drifting, this is the one time I'm going to say no.
You stop it.
the
Stop.
Gatorade bottle, the Monster can, the
The
beer
monster.
can.
Right? No,
The
no more
Gatorade
cans.
bottle doesn't bother me so much because most of the time they've ripped off the label and it's just like a bottle.
It's still.
You know, you're just using a bottle because you can't use because there was no overflow tank or whatever. That
Right.
doesn't bother me so much. But when you've decided that you need a beer can or a Monster can or something like that in place of your tank, that annoys me.
I understand. But I do like when they take a keg and convert it into a fuel tank.
That's
I like
kind of
that.
cool. In the right, like, old school hot rod.
I've not seen that very often though, because I think that takes some
Serious work.
some thought.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably more in a gas tank than you would, like, more to a gas tank than you would think.
Well, at least with the beer tap, it would at least. Its intent is to hold liquid.
Right,
So
that's
you're
true.
halfway there.
And it's not under pressure or anything, so
Yeah, you should be fine.
it's
And
not
you
a
have to have-
hydrogen fuel cell.
You have to have
Yep.
like a cool place to mount it.
Yeah, it
too,
has to
you
be.
know what I mean?
It has to be visible.
And it has to be like somewhat not on the bumper where it's going to explode if somebody taps into you. You know,
Right.
Takes a little bit. You know, replacing your overflow with a Pabst can's pretty. You know, you can do that
Elementary.
easily. Yeah. And it's
Hopefully you don't
also
need it
dumb.
because that's going to fill up real quick.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an effective overflow.
Nope.
The bear,
It's not.
the bear trap side thing, the side step. That's awesome.
No,
It's not,
Robbie.
Robbie.
I like
it's
it.
not cool.
God damn it.
Like
Robbie.
I think
Literally, he said in the other one, the people like the welding the chain thing into making, you know, welding the links of the chain together. No,
See,
it's the same
I am
thing.
not against any of that because
What the hell is going on this show?
of all the people
My
who
thought-
would not be into that, I thought it was
that is rat rotting because then you're in your shop and you got a pile of just scrap metal. Then you look over like, well, there's a couple of those old bear traps.
But it's welded onto a running board.
Oh, I'm not into that.
There was a
It's- you got-
perfectly
you got-
good running
you gotta
board, and then he welded a bear trap.
No, you got to
onto it.
replace the running board with bear traps.
No, see,
They have to
this
be
is
on
where
their
it's-
own.
No,
No,
rat rotting that's not what rat rotting is. Rat rotting is taking a car that's barely held together and throwing an extra small block in it and just making it work.
Yeah,
Right.
With
that's-
stuff that you already have.
Yeah,
Like a
but
bear
when you-
trap in your
When
yard.
you've
No,
done
no,
a
no, no.
full build and you've spent a whole bunch of time and you've put a whole bunch of thought and you've like gone to flea markets and swap meets and you've just bought junk and then found ways to put it on your car, that's
no.
I'm not.
Those are
I'm
two
not.
different things.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But if you have 4 bear traps, and you're like, if I weld 2 of these together on each side, it'd make a pretty good sidestep, and you replace your rails or sidestep with that.
No, see,
That's
that's where it
rat-
went wrong. Replace the sidestep. And I would be willing to bet $100 that guy didn't just have bear traps.
he went
He
like
went
he
and
was
found bear
strolling
traps.
around at a flea market and goes,
Did he?
those would make a sweet step on the fat rod.
Heck yeah, and he paid like $4 for them.
It's dumb, Robbie.
That's rat rotting. Deal with it.
It's not rat rotting.
It is.
Rat rotting is taking shit that you have and making it work. What people are doing now with rat rotting is they're going out and finding shit that is
Wait.
eclectic and annoying and putting it on their car to be annoying.
No, this guy had a Terragator. He turned into a show thing. He clearly lives on a farm type estate. He's got to have bear traps.
Do you need bear traps in Iowa, Robbie?
Yeah, there's cougars.
How many bears are there in Iowa?
Some.
You don't trap
2?
cougars with those. You trap cougars at the bar with younger
That's
men.
different. That's different cougars.
Oh, my bad.
And they trap
How many
you.
cougars? How many?
Yeah, it's true.
cougars?
They trap you.
They
That's
trap
different.
you. You're
That's
the
different.
prey.
Right.
They're the predator.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, we went down a weird path. I'm okay with it.
I don't know.
Is that it on the rat rod thing? Robbie's wrong.
I
I'm not
feel
wrong.
like
You're
this
wrong.
didn't need to continue 2 weeks, but yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I've dug my hole deep enough.
All
at
right,
this
Robbie's
point.
wrong.
You're
You can tell us how Robbie's wrong on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If
I
you
would
so
like
choose.
to. I would like to hear
Podcast.
more. I want to know if you are pro or
Tell us if you think
not.
rat rodding. I want to know if rat rodding is finding weird shit and then putting it on your car, or if it's just making your car work at the absolute bare minimum. With
just
shit you
getting it
already
back
have.
together again. Pulling a car out of a grove and just getting it back on the road again.
Because that I say option B. Option A is bullshit.
I think it's a combination of both.
No, because my thing is, if you could have restored it, if you had just spent that same amount of time on restoring it instead of finding weird shit,
Maybe not even like restoring it, but just like getting
Doing
it
it
back
correctly.
together.
Yeah.
But putting a little more effort into it.
yes,
That's not rat rodding.
that's my hang up.
That's restoring. That's not rat rod.
I know, but
Right, exactly.
rat rodding's not what they're doing either. It's I don't know what it is.
You're making up your own rules for rat rod. They play
don't
by
think
their
so.
own rules.
People will tell us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Or
10 Tenths-
YouTube.
10 Tenths Podcast. They could tell us on YouTube as well. There'll be many pictures. Oh, you know what the problem is? He gets to control the pictures, so he gets to decide what's rat rod.
I don't know.
There's not anything we can do about it.
There's a Wikipedia page for rat rod. We could argue over the definition of it.
Can you give me the one line
could change the
definition? Give me the
definition
one
of it.
line.
A rat rod is a style of hot rod or custom car that in most cases imitates or exaggerates the early hot rods of the 1940s, 50s, and early 60s. The style is not to be confused with the somewhat closely related traditional hot rod, which is an accurate recreation.
I don't think that definition is correct just
Either
at all.
It's too
even remotely.
It's too generic.
Yeah. So what is it?
Well, there is a. It's from the origins called the jalopy. Nope, the Jake Loppy.
The Jake Loppy.
A jalopy is kind of like an old school.
I could see it
Right,
imitating
Here it
a
is.
jalopy.
Here it is. It's a Jake Loppy then.
Okay, what's a Jake?
The
Loppy?
origin of the movement itself is a little easier to pin down. In 1987, after many decades of building hot rods and customs, Jim Jacobs gathered spare parts from his amassed personal stash and put together a 28 Ford Phaeton? Is that
Phaeton.
Phaeton?
Okay.
In 28 days. It sported no fenders, wide white bias ply tires, and a rusty Model A body on a 32 Ford frame.
But see, that's using car parts.
He
And
had-
I'm
he
not
had the
bear
stuff.
traps and
Right.
brass
And he
knuckles.
had the stuff.
I'm
Already.
See, that's my argument. Is it could be stuff you had. It doesn't have to be from a vehicle junkyard. It could be just a junkyard in general. So like random metal bits, like chains and bear
No.
traps.
That's not what that said.
If you told me I had 28 days to build a car with everything I had in this junkyard, you'd bet your ass chains and bear traps are going to be involved.
What junkyard are you at?
The best
That
ones.
just has
The
chains and
best
junk.
ones.
It just has chains.
I think
and
you need
bear
to
traps.
spend more time in the junkyards that I know, Robbie. Because
No, you need to spend more time in the junkyards. I know.
Robbie has this elusive.
Robbie, have you
chain
ever
and
been to
bear
a
trap
junkyard?
Heck yeah, there's a junkyard in my hometown.
that does not count.
Or that counts.
No, the one in Dune is not a. That's not
No,
a
no.
junkyard.
Bonestro in Hall. Or Perkins or whatever they call
I've
it.
never been to that. I can't say for sure, but
Not a lot of cars there. It's all what's random metals.
that's a scrap yard.
Salvage yard.
Those are hugely different
different.
terms, Robbie.
In this scenario, they all count.
No,
Robbie's
Yes.
making up some bullshit rules, man. Just making
my
up
dad.
his own rules.
You just made my dad upset. You lumped in junkyard and scrap yard in the
Okay,
same
hold on.
category.
Before he yells at you, what's your dad's opinion on rat rods? Because he's an
he's
old
with
school
me.
hot
He's
rodder.
150%
All right.
with me.
All right, that's all I wanted. Continue your argument.
My dad was incredibly annoyed by the mere arrival of the fat rod.
It's because it's dumb,
Yeah,
stupid.
it's a cry for help.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Can we move on
Please,
and just
for
all
the love of
agree
God.
that Robbie's incorrect? What's the next thing we have to
Agree
do?
to disagree,
Adam?
as we often do.
It's time for your opener, if you know what I mean.
Adam, are you going to do an opener? If you know what I mean,
If you would like me to.
that would be great.
Apparently, we are at some level contractually obligated.
Yes.
I think that's probably true. Zach
So-
would appreciate it if you would do an opener, if you know what I mean. Presented by Eyes Up Auto Art.
Yeah. So this weekend, Saturday, my parents came down here Friday night, and we went to this tiny little bitty town called Morningstar, Iowa, which is so tiny it's unincorporated, which
I don't know what that means.
that means that it's not big enough for the U.S. Postal Service to care about.
How do you get mail? You got a P.O. box or something?
Even if you live in quote-unquote Morningstar, you still just have a mailbox. There's not a post office in your town. It is unincorporated.
Can I send mail to somebody at Morningstar?
Somebody from a
Morningstar
different
is
town has to drive
it's
over there.
probably like, the next closest town, your address says that instead.
Okay. That's
It's
what I
like
was
living in the country. It'd be like a housing development nowadays.
wondering. I feel like most people don't have any idea what we're talking about.
It'd be like a housing
They
development.
can't imagine like living somewhere where it's
town
not a
where
place.
where there's like 12 houses just clustered together.
Yeah.
And an abandoned school.
I would say a majority of people have no idea what's going on right now.
Well, they don't even know what they're missing out on, frankly. It's a wonderful
It's a happening
life.
place.
It's a simple and wonderful life.
So you went to
It is a wonderful
Morningstar.
life.
Yeah. There was a man by the name of Bob Gabeline who has recently passed away, but he left what I think may be the single most impressive collection of automobile and farming equipment I have ever seen in my life.
I'm glad we're talking about this.
And this went up for auction. There were over 300 cars and over 200 tractors, and they had a bunch of like hay bale racks just full of parts. There were more parts there than some swap meets I've been to. And like we'd be walking through, and there were two of the intake manifold and carburetor setups for the all aluminum 427 Cobras motors. He just had two of them there. Didn't have any 427 Cobra powered cars, but had the intake manifold and carburetor setups with the air filter on them. That's $2,000 a piece, no problem, all day long on eBay.
Jeez.
And there were giant pallets full of like starter motors of all random shapes and sizes. And I mean, you could have started your own like online parts business just off the stuff this guy had. And the cars ranged everything from a 1915 Saxton, a 102-year-old car whose paint was frankly as good as anything I own and was original,
Oh, good Lord.
to a 1929 Stutz Blackhawk, which is one of 6 ever built and the only one left in existence.
That's going to go for a decent amount
It
of money.
already has sold, and I've got a price for it. So let's preface it this way. They had to prepare a area across the street to land helicopters because they were expecting 5 to 6 people who are affluent enough that a helicopter is justifiable transportation for them were coming to this auction.
Wow.
And if I had to guess, most of them were probably there to buy a one-of-one Stutz. Take a stab at it. How much money do you think that went for?
Mill. I don't know.
Not nearly that much. It is 6 figures, but it's just
Okay. My guess was going to be 200 before you said just, so.
$122,000 for that. In 1929 or whatever that was, I think it was a 29. They guaranteed that car would do 105 miles an hour.
That is fast.
That was factory guaranteed. That was part of their like warranty or whatever you'd want to call it at the time.
Oh, good grief.
So
Hot
a
damn.
32 valve 8-cylinder.
That's
There,
cool.
there was a 30s Packard limo there that had a like somehow powered glass between the front seat and the back, like a modern limo would.
Right.
But this was from the 30s, and it was just so cool. It's so big and so opulent and ridiculous. It was an absolutely amazing thing to see. They had, I mean, I can't even begin to. There was an '84 Dodge Rampage there.
Rampage!
Went for $800. Went for $800. I was
Terms of a
high
Rampage,
bidder on it for a very short period of time.
It was.
Yeah?
It went for how much?
$800.
Bargain.
It's the first time that I've ever seen my engine bay, because I suppose for those who don't know, which is probably most of you, a Dodge Rampage is my Omni except 2-door and a pickup bed. It's basically an Omni El Camino.
God, you should have bought that.
I wanted it
You
so
should've.
bad.
$800 shit, you could have sold the S10 and
So you can do
live
you can
that
do,
life.
You can do proxy bid was what they called it, which means you can bid online. You can basically do it like an eBay auction. You can put your max and you can put by what increment you want to go up. And my dad like told me that he had that all figured out and he was bidding on a couple of things and I was like, I got $200 cash in my back pocket. Throw it on the Rampage, you know. And for a while, because it was at $12 when I bought
Oh, son of a bitch.
it, so I was like, you know, I might get away with this because who showed up to buy a Rampage? Seriously, you know. So
Should be everybody.
I thought maybe I would get away with it. It went for $800, which is totally. I mean that it's not super desirable, but it's probably a $1,500 to $2,000 car.
Yeah.
Easily, so I could have doubled my money on it even at $800. It would have been a good buy.
It's probably a good thing you didn't call me because I would have told you. You know, the starting credit line on PayPal is $1,500.
That's pretty good.
So it was the first time I've ever seen an all original engine bay for my car.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff in there.
I'm sure.
That mine does not have.
That
just
70s,
kinda bare
80s
bones, yeah.
smog stuff is bad.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of shit. in there.
Yeah, I'm really glad I don't have to.
You don't even know what it is.
I don't know that I would have bought the Omni if there was that much shit under the hood.
I don't want to work on that.
I don't
That's somebody
wanna
else's
work on that
problem.
at all. So, they had a 2000 S10 Extreme there, 2-cylinder or 4-cylinder, 5-speed regular cab. The only difference between my truck and that truck was that it was a step side,
Oh,
salvage titled.
okay.
He put a bunch of stupid flame graphics on it,
Hell yeah.
and like those moon eye, like Salt Lake style or Salt Lake
Covers.
Racer style wheel covers,
Oh, yeah.
salvage titled. $4,250.
That's too many dollars.
Is it really low mileage?
I don't remember.
Rust-free, I
Didn't
assume?
run. It was rust free.
Didn't run?
Didn't run.
What the fuck is
Dude,
wrong with people?
I would be skipping up and down the streets doing cartwheels if somebody offered me $4,200 for my S10.
Absolutely.
I guarantee somebody bought that and is already planning on pulling the engine out and putting a V8 in it.
Probably.
I bet that's what
They
there
have
was
to have
two
plans
guys.
for it. There's no
guys
reason to spend that.
planning a small block swap that, and they just got in a bidding war between the two of them.
Yeah.
Weird.
So my dad's kind of been watching it a little bit and messaging me some of these. So I'll kind of read through this. A 58 Impala convertible for $82,500.
It's not a small number.
Not a small number at all. There was a GMC Cameo, which is just like
Is that the camper thing?
no.
Damn it.
So you've seen
Those are
my
sweet.
dad's GMC.
Yeah.
That's step side.
Okay.
The Cameo, there's a fender, basically a fender that bolts on the bed side and makes it a fleet side instead of a
okay.
step side.
Yep.
This one was a project vehicle,
So not done.
not done, did not run.
'Kay.
Sold for $26,000,
I'm gonna have to take a hard pass on that.
which
I
is
think.
less than what my dad is asking for his running, driving, completed car.
I think people got a little excited there.
Yeah, he had a caboose,
I saw the caboose.
$4,200.
That's $4,200 more than I would pay for a
It
caboose.
was set up as a complete restaurant.
Still?
Yeah. Like they literally went and picked it up, set it on the trailer, and drove it back to his place. It was still full of like all the styrofoam containers and plastic cups and all that. Never even bothered to empty all that out.
What do you do with a caboose?
What did he do for
Turn
a
it into a
living?
restaurant?
To have all this
So he
stuff.
there was a Des Moines Register article I read about him. At the height of his empire, if you will, he farmed roughly 30,000 acres.
That's a lot of acres.
It's a lot of acres. Owned multiple grain elevators
Yeah.
and a trucking company. So
Okay.
basically what he was doing was he was taking grain out of fields
Yep.
and paying himself to haul it to the elevator where he would buy it from himself and then drive it to another elevator and sell it back to himself again. I'm sure was the type of shit he was doing. But just making money hand over fist.
I'm sure.
He owned the entire process from start to finish.
Vertical integration, bro.
I knew you would have a business
Stacks on
term
stacks
for
on
it.
stacks. That's how you make that money.
Cats on cash, baby.
Oh gosh, that's not
Cash on cats. That's what you should start. Cash on cats. It's cats carrying around cash. That's a
Yeah.
moneymaker for you
Yeah.
right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's a freebie for whoever wants
But-
that one.
Every time you get to these auctions where there's these huge, crazy numbers of amazing things, you always wonder, like, what didn't get sold? What did his kids keep?
Yep.
And I read in that newspaper article that he has 5 kids. None of them are particularly interested in cars in any way, shape, or form.
That really surprises me. You'd think one, or
Right?
at least kind
At least one of them would have latched onto this. But no, they said that one or two of them were interested in one or two cars as sentimental value, and in the interest of fairness, they decided to put everything that their dad owned on auction, and if you wanted one of those, you can bid on it.
Wow.
So there's not some shed off to the side filled with a bunch of ridiculous things we wish we could have seen. So he had a bunch of 59 Cadillac convertibles. There was a pink 59 Cadillac convertible there. It was basically everything I want in my life. I'm quite certain that there is more square footage in that Cadillac than there was in my first apartment.
Quite large for a two-door.
So big for a two-door.
They're
It's
huge.
crazy. So
There was a V12 Zephyr there.
there was a V12 Zephyr there.
I wonder what that sold for.
I cannot answer that.
I
All of
watched
it's-
one at Barrett Jackson go for $1 million once.
This
a long
was
time
not
ago.
in that good a shape.
No. It was dusty when I saw it. I don't know what shape the paint was in, but
There were a lot of everything that was inside that building, even if it was dusty and didn't run, was a very solid vehicle. But it looked to me like he just never took the same car to Good Guys twice and always went. Because you'd be walking around, oh, that's got a sticker in it for 2007. Oh, look at that, there's 2006. Oh, hey, look, 2008. Just a different car every year, and it didn't seem like he was brand loyal to anything specifically.
Sounds fun. I like
with
it.
all the
So-
stuff that he had in like signs and parts and cars, and I mean,
There were
when do you find time to buy this?
there
stuff?
were literally hundreds of pedal cars.
When do you find time to buy this shit?
They had this model train thing. The cars for the train were probably 3 foot long, about 1.5 feet tall, maybe a foot wide. I've never seen one of those cars in my life. They had them all lined up. It was probably 150 feet long.
Whoa.
Good grief.
And a lot of them had Sharpie marker price tags written on them. Like he had gone and bought them
I never did.
at a flea market or a swap meet or something like that, and then just sat on them.
Huh.
And most of them were, $550, $375, $425. Just money.
Bizarre shit,
I've
man.
never understood pedal cars. I don't know.
know.
People are way into them. They spend a bunch of money on them. I don't get it.
As a father, I can see where a pedal car is fun for my kid.
Yes.
But I'm not going to drop $1,000 on one anytime soon.
I'm not
I can
going to
assure
collect
you of
them.
that.
Yeah. Weird.
So there were some really cool looking ones, and I can see the collectability of them, but I don't know that I can agree with the pricing.
No.
So-
Not at all.
But it was one of the cooler experiences I've had in a while, just seeing all the stuff that was there. They weren't even selling. It was so big. It's a $5 or a 5-day auction. Started Monday, ends Friday, and Saturday and Sunday that we went is just an open house to walk around and see those things.
Supposedly, somebody representing Jay Leno was there,
That does not surprise me.
That is the rumor.
and maybe somebody else famous. I don't know.
I'm sure there were other big money people there. I mean, if they were expecting to land 5 or 6 helicopters,
There was some money.
there's some real money coming in there. When we were there, a helicopter landed. That's how we heard that. We were standing there as one was landing, and everybody's like staring at this guy coming down in, and we were standing within earshot of a Sullivan Auctions employee, and somebody asked him, like, did you know that was coming? Yeah, we set that area up. We're expecting 5 or 6 of them total.
That Sullivan auction place had to be like having a fucking party in their office when they landed
Well,
that deal.
It's kind of been the talk of the office where I work, because there's a lot of people that are into those older cars, and it's just such a crazy ordeal that, even if you're not into cars, it's still cool to kind of see all the stuff that was there and whatnot. Monday alone brought in $2.6 million. They did one of the guys at work did the math on it. I'll bet they break 10 mil by the end of the week.
That's crazy.
But like I said earlier, if you're that guy, where do you find time to buy stuff?
He was 86 years old.
You just think when he got to retirement age, he just spent all day
He spent
Looking for stuff?
The last 20 years was just
Well,
looking for crap?
The article that I read about him, his kids said that not a weekend went by where Dad wasn't at a junkyard or a swap meet or a flea market or a car show or something, and he was always like
Just constant.
every month there'd be a 2 foot tall stack of magazines that came to his house with for sale ads in them for cars. He was subscribed to every magazine there is that has for sale ads in it, just so that he could see the things
Find
he was
the one
interested
thing.
in.
Yeah.
Looking for that one thing. He had like a penchant for the Taurus show, the first gen show.
Didn't you have like a one-off
There was
concept car?
There was a Mercury Sable wagon that that's like early 90s.
Yeah, the roundy one or the square one.
The roundy one.
Yep.
Same gen as the show, because the Sable wagon was more roundy than the show, or than the Taurus was.
Yeah.
But it had the front end off of a Thunderbird of that era, which didn't really look right.
Looks weird.
And then it had the doors and interior from the show swapped onto it, so that the door said show on it, but the body line, like the windshield line, doesn't quite fit between the Sable and the show. They're just a touch different. So that door, like when you got real close to it, it didn't really line up quite right. And then it had a show motor in it with the 5-speed transmission, or 6-speed, whatever, the manual. I think they're 5s.
That's super weird.
$200. Did not run. I could not get the hood open even. I took a couple pictures of it. I'll show it
That's
to you
weird.
guys. It's a very strange looking little thing.
Strange.
I'm seeing a theme, though, that a lot of stuff didn't run. Because when we were talking about it in my office, I was like, how would you even deal with
How
all
do you
this
maintain
crap?
that?
Like, what do you, I mean,
You just let it.
plus if you're
Well,
not,
so-
I mean, I can hardly handle like one manufacturer's V8s, like, and then you've got everybody's everything. And knowing
Yeah.
how to work on it and where to get the parts.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
There were a lot of, like, you'd be walking through the swap meet, and it looks like he'd build these little tables. He'd just screw some wood together and drill a bunch of holes in it and label it valves, and then there'd be a holder for the cams.
So he's breaking down
and
engines.
then like little pegs sticking up with springs sitting on it.
Oh, weird.
And there were 3 or 4 of those complete with all the parts sitting in them. Like he had done the teardown in the process of a rebuild, but then never got to finishing the rebuild. There were probably 3 or 4 Taurus show motors and transmissions in the swap meet area. Well, not swap meet area, but that's what we called
the
it.
parts.
The parts
thing,
area.
yeah.
There was a 50s Ford truck that he had swapped one of those motors into. It had a Good Guy sticker on it. It was actually a really cool thing, because you ever seen that motor? The intake manifold that's on the top of it is awesome looking.
What a bizarre life.
There was a complete, but in pieces, Cosworth Vega motor there. No Cosworth Vegas, not even a Vega. There wasn't even a Vega, let alone a Cosworth
he
one.
went and
But the
pulled it out of
motor
a
was all there in pieces.
Junkyard and decided he was going to tear it apart.
I think there were 2 heads. I think there may have been 2 blocks. There was a crank. There were the pistons, all that. But it was on a pallet with like a diesel motor or something like that on it. And they're going to sell that as the pallet.
Weird.
Because they didn't even take, I'm sure it would have taken way too much time and manpower, but they didn't even take the time when they were moving stuff out of wherever it was he was storing it all. They would just put, if this was in the front, it went on this pallet. And so stuff wasn't even necessarily grouped together
Yeah.
in likeness.
Right.
So you may be bidding on, let's say it was a diesel transmission in that Cosworth Vega. You may be bidding on the Cosby motor, and the other guy who's bidding against you might be bidding on that transmission. You don't know. And how far is he willing to go versus what is that worth to you? And then if you let him win it, he probably has no interest in that Vega motor. So hopefully you can
Yeah, the only recourse is to be like, hey, dude,
hey, so that's
will you
worth,
sell me that?
that's worth $300 to me. Will you let me have it? Sure.
Yep.
I'll you just outbid me at $600. I'll give you 3. You take what you want. I'll
Call it
take
a
what
day.
I want. We'll call it a day. That's the only as this diehard obscure car guy. That's what I hope happens. Because I don't want to see those parts
people
go
throwing
to
shit
waste.
away. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
But it was incredible. It was really cool to see. There were lots of things there that I'll never see twice.
I'd have to hire somebody. I'd need a mechanic, at least.
He may have. I don't know.
At least one mechanic. Wonder how many mechanics Jay Leno has. Do we know?
Probably
2,
a whole
3,
team. Yeah.
8?
I mean, he's got a guy who just does his steam engines.
Yeah, 8 then probably.
So,
But that's kind of the same. He's kind of like the common man's Jay Leno then, kind of. He had some more commoner style,
yeah.
stuff, and he was kind of doing, it sounded like he was doing a lot of stuff himself.
I don't know if he was doing it himself or if he was hiring it out. I can't answer. Maybe he was commissioning these builds. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Weird life, though. Is that it for your opener?
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Don't forget to check out Eyes Up Auto Art on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's EYES Up Auto Art. We've been talking about him for a couple months now. He's the dude that does dope pictures of your ride. He paints them. So if you want to commission an artwork of your ride, Robbie, you can contact him through any one of those social medias. Send him a DM and kind of what you're thinking, and he will get you hooked up. He can basically do whatever you send him for the most part. Prices are reasonable. It's just a really cool process, and you end up with a really cool, unique piece for your car that you can have in your house or your office or whatever, and it's just different. That's what I like about. That's what I like about it.
It's not rat rod like over the top.
No, it's not bad different. It's good different.
It's good different.
That's for sure.
Oh, I should have him paint a rat rod for me.
I don't think he would go that far to annoy me.
Oh, we might.
He is sponsoring a whole segment to annoy you, though. So, who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't think Robbie would go that far. There's a lot of things he could do that are cheaper.
Well, I bet I would.
He passed up on a shirt. What did it say?
Oh, there was
Robbie.
at Kohl's. They had like super clearance items, and there was a T-shirt from Archer that said like "Hey, phrasing" or something.
Right.
For
It's
a
not
buck
like something.
50.
It's not like
A
something we
buck
say twice
50.
a show or anything like that. For $1.50.
For $1.50, and I was like, I'll never wear this.
It's
stupid
not
thing.
like you don't send that GIF at least once a week to us.
Yeah, we say it on the show all the time.
Yeah, but I
You didn't even buy it for me.
I should have
I
bought it
would've
and made
wore
him
it.
wear it. Yeah.
I would have fucking wore it.
All right. Well, it's still at Kohl's, I'm sure. There's like 4 of them.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. It's probably so popular.
You want me to go?
It's
You want me to go buy
$1.50.
all?
Yeah, that's how it got on the clearance rack, by being super
Well, at
popular.
$1.50.
Fine. I might just have to go buy all of them, and then we
That's
all
fine.
can have them.
Then we can have them. That'd be great.
No.
It can be our thing.
No.
Do we have a caller, Adam?
Yeah, we're gonna get on the Skype machine here with Jabaay.
Sweet. Is he
'Cause
ready to go now?
He has things he wants to like push and promote and do.
Welcome, Adam Jabaay.
Hey, are you recording things?
I am recording things.
Whenever I start a podcast, feel like I have to ask that. Are you recording?
Just legally speaking, are you recording or just?
Is this on the record?
Will this be disclosed on the internet?
Yep.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, no, it's a force of habit to say, "Are you recording?" in the middle of the recording. And Austin, I think, usually rolls his eyes, and now he expects it.
It's good to be thorough, though. I mean, realistically.
Yeah.
People don't like change, so be consistent.
We got a checklist. We got to do the things.
It is important.
What are you doing? Are you in the Rad V doing rad
Nope.
shit that only Adams can do?
Nope, not doing anything rad right now. I'm sitting in an old Honda Civic in my garage, my recording studio.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Talking to that podcast. What's
The one
show,
podcast?
guys?
Those
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
starts
so-
with Maximum, doesn't it?
Yeah, my Monday show. The one
Yeah.
I do on Mondays.
That's right.
Did you see?
Yeah. What did
on
he?
Twitter?
What did he say?
Zachary Carroll, our friend with Eyes Up Auto Art.
This is so blasphemous.
He he made a tweet about how glad he was that it was Sunday because that's when 1010's podcast comes out. And then he did hashtag, and on the 7th day, God created 1010s.
That is easily the nicest thing I've ever heard.
That's very kind and very unbiblical.
It's my new favorite hashtag for sure.
Blasphemy.
Anybody that's got time on like the day off to listen to you guys really likes you guys. I listen to you on the next day.
That was the whole plan when we were, at the beginning when we were strategizing. We're taking things really seriously. We're like, what day should it come out on? And I think a lot of it hinged on when SlipAngle came out.
Yeah.
Because it was back in the day when you guys were really consistent on, was it Tuesday and Friday?
It's always Tuesdays, at least.
Yeah, we started doing it on Tuesdays, and then we added Fridays, and currently we're only doing Fridays like the last month because we're just too busy to do anything. So, but it'll be Tuesday and Friday again.
Nice.
What are you too busy with? You don't have that much going on in your
It's not like you own 16 cars and an RV and a business and some kids or whatever.
Multiple businesses at the moment that I work for, so it's
Yeah,
been
and
busy.
flying around doing track days and stuff. I mean, geez.
Yeah, Austin's working for multiple track day companies. I'm working for Gridlife. I'm a regular construction company, and we're trying to do podcasts. And I have a kid and a wife who I want to be married to.
Are you still on the ST committee?
I am. I had one of those calls for 3 hours on Sunday night while I took the body off the sports racer.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I told our buddy Eric Cattell, who was runner-up in STL Super Touring Light with SCCA road racing class. I told him I'll stay on the committee until he wins runoffs, and hopefully he'll win runoffs this year, and I can quit. Because we have a similar drivetrain, so somebody has to defend the B18 Hondas.
That sounds like some inside trader stuff.
No, there's really not a whole lot you can do. I mean, I could argue a little bit in favor of the drivetrain I have, but overall, the main thing with a committee like that is to do what's best for the class. So that's my company line speech that I have rehearsed.
You can put your note cards away.
Yes, give me a second while I file that away again.
So do you get a pass for being on like a race-related call while you're working on your car? I would think, I would think that's fair.
I put it on mute, and whenever I want to say something, that's when because the lift is going up and down, I'm like going with impacts and like hammering on things, trying to figure out how to take the nose.
But I feel like
sports racer.
If somebody's like, "Where's Jabaay?" and you're like, "Hold on a second, I was on mute." Like if somebody asks you and you're like, "I'm working on the race car," I don't feel like anybody could get up your shit about that.
That is like my time to work on the race car. I always work on the race car during STAC calls. Everybody knows if most of us are working on the race cars, like the secretary position where
I was
you have to
say,
like,
I bet he's not even the only one.
Yeah, like the secretary and like the guy who's got to like actually run the meeting. Like I think those positions aren't super sought after because you can't work on race cars.
This is gonna eat up a lot of my free time. I can't. This isn't gonna work for me.
Some of those calls are like 3 to 4 hours. Sometimes they're like 12 minutes because we got like 2 topics, and it's like guys asking for dumb stuff, But
no, you can't run nitrous.
Like people send in like tons of letters sometimes, but sometimes they don't. Like mid-season, sometimes we get it swamped, and then sometimes we'll have like literally 12-minute calls, like, and half of it's just about BSing about the last race that everybody was at or whatever. But it's unpredictable, so I definitely file that evening into the garage. Tell my wife I'm going to be working on cars, and I got a conference call, and I'll see you later. So, but yeah, taking the body off a sports racer was an interesting thing. I've never taken the body off a car before, and I'm looking at it right now. It's hanging in the air above it. So,
what are you going to do with it?
I'm going through the car to make it like safer. It's a 1993 Fraser, which is kind of a Lotus 7 chassis. They build a ton of Lotus 7 replicas. It's a New Zealand company, but they built a few race cars like with full bodies, and it kind of looks like a little bit more swoopy, prototypey Spec Racer Ford, like what James from Kanga drives.
Yeah.
So, the back end looks a lot like a Spec Racer 4, but the front end is got headlights, and it kind of has like a prototype look because the headlights, they look like prototypes, kind of a cross between that a prototype and a Lotus 7 and the Spec Racer 4. Like if those things had a weird 3-way and intermixed and bred, it would be this dumb piece of crap that I.
So explain something to me. That was at Gingerman, right?
Yeah, the owner of Gingerman bought it in the 90s sometime.
Okay. So
it just kind of languished there.
The guy that owned the track also owned the car.
Yeah, he's got a ton of cars.
It wasn't like some random person abandoned it there.
I saw the barn. I don't know if I was supposed to be in there.
There's a barn up by the house. Kind of where you guys were parked with the camper,
Right.
There's a barn kind of in the little bit woods, like off to the right. If you turned around and look at the barn at the house there's a big barn. And there's a lot of cool stuff in that barn. So
I don't know if I was supposed to be looking in the barn, but I was looking in the barn.
Yeah, he's got a road race like 70s vet. I forget what class that runs in. Somebody has raced it at a regional race that I was at Gingerman. But it's loud. It doesn't go that fast, but it's loud. It's got a GT3 996 Cup car.
Jeez. I bet that's the case with a lot of like small club style tracks like that, though. That there's just like some building off to the side that's just full of crazy stuff.
But there's a couple other cool things in there. I think there's some He's got an old school road race Porsche, like a 73 full cage and everything. But there's some other really cool stuff down by. You guys came in the driver entrance, but the other entrance, there's a few shops over there.
I saw that last year.
And Yeah, there's some really cool cars over there. A lot of one of them is Trackside Custom Works, and the owner of that place is Jr. Juan Marchand. Juan R. Marchand. I don't know what his middle name is, but he's engaged to the owner's daughter, and he's had a shop there forever. And I guess they're going to get married, and Juan's going to get part of a racetrack, I guess. But
I see your angle.
He's had a shop there forever, and yeah, he's a road racer. He won the Formula Mazda National Championship a few years ago at Road America, I think. But yeah, the dude's fast. He's always working on something really cool. He's got a dyno and stuff over there. But,
Does Strictly have something in around there?
they're about 25, 30 minutes away, Strictly Performance in Kalamazoo. Yeah, they're right. If you go out of the driver's side of the track there and go left, you'll run into their shop. Like you make a left and a right and a left and a right, and it's down in town like probably half an hour. So
I didn't realize it was that close.
yeah, they're pretty close. They had a bunch of cars out there. They didn't have their huge trailer like in years past, but at least I didn't think they did. I don't know. That place
I don't
was too
think they
busy.
did either.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend. Thanks for coming out too. You guys, hope you guys had a good time. Didn't hit many drift cars, so
No.
that's a good thing.
No. You know what? I stood in the middle of the track for a while, and nobody ran over me. It was weird. So that's what I'm going to
Yeah.
do next time, I think.
No, man, the media this time around, and you were out there with some of them. Like, there's just so many dummies. So stupid.
While Michael's
And they all
standing in
went
the
to
middle of the track.
meeting, and
While Michael's standing in the middle of the track, Robbie and I are going to be over on the front straight hitting spoilers.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just reach over there and smack them.
No big
yeah.
deal.
High fiving some APRs, huh?
No
It's
big
gonna be
deal.
rad, dude.
Nothing bad. Can
Nothing
happen.
could possibly go wrong. I
Who
don't
doesn't,
see the
who
problem.
doesn't like a good high five? I mean,
Oh,
seriously.
man. I saw one dude, his face almost got taken off, and then
Jeez.
and we were constantly telling people back behind two there was a line painted in the grass. Like we
Yep.
tried to make it like accessible. Like we had discussions about like what's the best way to do this, right? And like we painted a line 2 feet back from the main straight wall, which isn't a big deal during HPD and time attack because cars are on the other side of the track in the braking zone in turn 1 there. But drift cars, when they're doing like, initiations and stuff, like trying to flick sideways in turn 1, sometimes they flick they do a little bit of a Scandinavian flick or whatever you call it. And like, they're all the way track left before turn 1, right where dummies are standing. And we had like 6 people keeping people behind this line, like walking up and down the whole time, by the end of like day 1. And then we ended up putting a ribbon, like a caution tape, with stakes. And then people would just walk through that too. And we constantly had people and the sheriff. And so we got plans for next year. Yeah, people can't hit drift wings. That's a really bad thing to do. So
I was
bad.
standing along the front straight there, and it was during, I think, the second time attack session. Somebody came in a little hot into turn 11.
Yeah.
And took it pretty wide, and you could see all these people go running. Well, clearly you have the state of mind to understand that you're in a bad spot. Why are you there?
And during time attack announcing, we were multiple times we would tell people down by turn 11, you got to back away from the wall. And even though that's actually a pretty safe area because there's a giant sand trap there. But I've seen cars get within about 5 feet of the wall, and then I've seen one time a car got into a tank slapper and did hit the wall there. I mean, the wall is like chest height, so it's not the end of the world. But one time in like 04, maybe 03, it's probably 03, before we were hosting events there, we did our first event there in 04. But in 03, maybe it was 02, I don't remember. But I was standing right by the off to the right of the main corner worker station by turn 1, and they were running the track backwards, which is counterclockwise or whatever they call it. And it's really fun to run that track backwards because it has a little more of a flowing feel. Typically, we do like 1 or 2 backward sessions a year at our Honda Meet event, or Friday afternoon is backwards or whatever. But backwards, it's got it feels like it has more flow, and I think it's got potential to be more faster. to be faster.
More faster?
More faster is key. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, I said it MOAR, so I'm allowed to say it.
I think so. As long as you hashtag it, it's fine.
Yeah, hashtag more faster, and but the problem is turn 1 is backwards then, so the wall's on the inside of the turn, and if you loop it and try to save it, then you back it into the wall, right?
Yep.
And so I'm standing probably with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and my college roommate, and like my roommate's buddy, and we're standing like against the wall, like drift dummies, the other day, and this S2000, which was a brand new car at the time, with all Mugen livery and like every Mugen part in the catalog. I think probably had to be a $50,000 car at the time. It comes around turn 1. And it's an instructor session at a speed trials event, I think, Club SI event maybe. There was only a couple of HPDs that ran back then, and it was one of those two. And he loops it, and he starts saving it, and it's a tank slapper for like 150 feet, and then he backs it into the wall right where we're at, and we got sprayed with wing and taillight plastic, and like I almost got an end plate to the face. So I have a special feeling for end plates to the face, and I don't want that to happen to a bunch of drift dummy spectators. So, yeah, that was interesting. We might need to put like prison fence up with barbed wire, because those people really wanted to lean over that fence the whole time.
That might be what it's going to take.
It literally might take electrified barbed wire.
Yep.
People want to take drift pictures so much.
Because we were standing there on Saturday
during time attack.
Yeah, during time attack, and constantly you guys were telling them, get off the wall, 2 feet back, don't be a dummy, and no one listened. So I mean, I understand.
Signs that say "Don't be a dummy" and "No flex zone."
They were flexing all weekend.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that was the major problem.
Standing there, and you could see he was flexing because there was a hot chick there. Like you could see.
Wow.
And this dude was freaking ripped. He was giant, man.
Do you see the dude? There were 2 dudes cruising around on a crotch rocket, and the guy in the back was facing backwards, and he had the giantest dildo I've ever seen.
It was like a 2 foot by 6 inch girth. Like he's just sitting there holding.
I don't know.
Nobody's gonna go to any of your events.
It's a weird scene.
You can't control the riffraff that comes in. I get that.
But like, you've never seen so many people having fun at a club racetrack ever.
It was great.
It was a good time, man. It was a lot of fun. But Saturday night was one of my favorite times, even though I got yelled at. It's hard to get yelled at when you're me at Gridlife.
Yeah, the race director shouldn't be the one getting yelled at.
Did you get yelled at for golf cart shenanigans?
No,
okay.
I've vowed never to do golf shirt. I don't want to do that either.
That's traditionally not what you're looking for. No.
No, golf cart shenanigans after Road Atlanta. After I found out 4 people died at Road Atlanta during the season last year on golf carts. They fell down hills and stuff.
More people have died. He told me this. More people have died at Road Atlanta on golf carts than on track. And Road Atlanta is the deadliest track in the country.
I see. I had heard that on the Maximum podcast, the other one and I was like, that can't be true.
Nope, it's true.
4 people died on a golf cart last year. I was like, that's not true.
Well, not at Gridlife. Like,
No. But now
there's a golf cart rental place there. Like the dude, he's got like a barn next to registration, and it's like golf cart rentals, yay! And the place is like really hard to walk around because some of the hills are like 200 feet tall.
Lots
of
steep hills.
Yeah. Like if you're on the upper paddock, you look down onto the lower paddock and you're like, ooh, that's big. It's like way down there.
I'm not going to walk that.
It's like
Get a golf
50,
cart.
60-foot drop, So people want to rent golf carts. And then in the middle of the night, people like to drink beer at racetracks.
Huh.
And then people like to surf on golf carts because that's sweet, right? And then
pretty sick.
Death ensues.
Yeah, because falling from about 8 feet up onto the back of your head, that'll end it real quick.
Yeah,
that's
typically.
bad for business, man. That's bad.
That is bad. What'd you get yelled at for?
So Saturday night, I was walking after the concert. We cleaned up like the concert grounds, like me and most of my track staff. Like we just walked because Chris is like, we need help cleaning up the concert grounds. This place is gross. So I like texted my track staff and like we just walked around like under the tent picking up cans and everything, because the tent needed to be taken down in the morning.
Yep.
And so I got to clean it up now, and it's easier right now when everybody's still standing there. And so we cleaned it all up, and then me and my old college roommate, the redheaded dude in grid for Time Attack, Josh. We were just kind of we walked through campground hell, through the freaking crazy town, because it's so fun to do. Like at night.
Oh,
like
we did it.
It's the best. Like you walk
It's out of
through the
control.
campgrounds, and it was so much more fun this year than last year, right? Because it was so big. It was even bigger. I thought it was huge last year, but like there was like thousands of people back there. It was like, you know, and they're car to car, tent to tent, like everyone's just having a good time, and it's kind of a good vibe. Like after a long day, like I want to walk through the campground and watch people have fun, right? So it's like midnight. We're walking through the campground, and I had lost my golf cart at like 6:30 that day. I really never even drove my golf cart. Like I drove it like one time, and then Austin and the Maximum Driftcast guys and like Matt Farah and like everybody would like take my golf cart because I didn't actually need a golf cart. So I didn't know where my golf cart was. I figured Austin probably had it, and him and Matt Farah and Zach are just kind of cruising around or whatever. And so we're all the way back in the campground, and I hear Matt Farah say, "Adam, I got Tito's." So they pull up. Austin's driving, and he's being responsible. He's sober. And Matt Farah has a jug of Tito's. He's got mixers in the basket. Zach Clapman's on there, and like a girl from GM, Darby, she's on there too, and one of our instructors is on there, one of our buddies, Christian, and the guy with the WRC car on like dirt tires that was driving on the track. He had a WRC like Pro Drive built 2.5 RS or whatever with a 2-liter motor, and he was hitting anti-lag like every time he would be in grid. It was so
Constantly.
cool. He did hit anti-lag a lot. He did that a lot. But so they pull up and we just hop on the golf cart. So we're just cruising around, and then we find the loudest party we've ever seen, and it was all the Formula Drift guys, and they were taking over. They were being party pirates and like Vikings, and just taking over parties and having a good time, and then playing Flip Cup or whatever it is people play.
So they'd show up, go to the party, drink all their booze, move on to the next party.
It was
Exactly.
really,
That's the story I heard.
A very good time. And they had commandeered golf carts from other members of Gridlife staff. I don't know who they got them from, but I'm sure they asked nicely, and somebody gave them the keys because it's the celebrity-ish people.
Yeah.
So then they put Austin in charge of like leading them around to parties. And so for like an hour and a half, we drove around with all the Formula Drift dudes and Matt Farah and all of them, just basically taking over parties. And Austin and I hadn't really been drinking or anything. We're just kind of like, all right, let's, I guess we should show them a good time, right? Like, we're kind of in a.
This is our duty now.
Yeah, like I guess this is our job. Like, do we make sure everything's cool? And like the cops would come over because we had sheriffs there and we had security there, and they'd be like, "What's going on here?" Because like all of a sudden, the lights would come on and like 500 kids would start walking up to a party. And so we were like, Austin and I would talk to the cops or whatever. And it's like, all right, we'll keep it cool. Maybe we'll try. Just want to show these dudes a good time. Not too good of a time, but they're having fun. It was a weird scene, and it was hours of the weirdest scene. and then Holly yelled at me because I was in charge of the weird scene, and
You got elected the leader.
I guess it was strange, but no, the commandeered golf carts. I didn't actually get yelled at, but they were like, what's going on here? Like Chris and Holly pull up in the tiny van. Chris, the founder of Gridlife, and Holly, like the operations director of like everything except for racetrack, and they were stressed all weekend because it was the busiest weekend ever. But they pull up at it had to be like 2:33 in the morning, and found a bunch of their drunk celebrity drivers and Donut Media
and Adam Jabaay,
and then me and Austin. And I was like, I'm just doing my best. Like, I don't really know what to do here, but we're trying to show them a good time, right? So it was really fun, actually. But Gridlife is fun. It's super fun. It's not all dildos on motorcycles and kids slapping wings, but we learned a lot of lessons this year for safety trackside. Lessons that we thought we had learned last year, but the crowd was literally almost twice as big during the day. So,
yeah, I was shocked at the amount of people that were there. What was it, Friday night when we got there?
Yeah, or Thursday night.
Thursday night when we got there.
Paddock was full.
Like 1 a.m. too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was after gates, and I think gates closed at 1, and I had just taken a shower.
Yep.
And then,
yeah, we missed it by like a half hour, so you were kind enough to let us in. But yeah, the paddock was completely full. There was more camping up next to the paddock that was as full as it was on Saturday the year before.
It was bizarre.
Crazy.
we're going to have less drivers next year because we literally can't fit that many drivers.
I believe
especially with the pro rigs that come in and need to be up top, for vendors and stuff like that, like the giant 18 wheelers and stuff. There was just so many drivers between all the Friday only drivers and like beginner single session drivers. There's like 50 of those guys. They got one session, We just had too many. We had too many drivers in the paddock, and we tacked like darn near 400 cars.
Oh my gosh.
It was bizarre. Like, I don't know. We almost don't know where to go with Gingerman because we kind of topped it out. Like, you could maybe put another 1,000 people there.
I don't know that you could.
There was a little bit of camping room, like maybe for 50 tents out in the back 40 somewhere.
Yeah,
but
a little bit to the south.
Maybe we got to mow more fields down. I don't know.
But
Take some trees out.
Without wrapping around a spectator hill, you're really running out of real estate.
Spectator Hill would be the next logical campground, and there's not much of a road going to that, just enough for like a golf cart or a small vehicle, But I don't know where to go from there. We never kind of expected it to be like this,
especially in 4 years. It's amazing what you guys have really built. It is.
Just keep reinvesting into the event basically, and it just keeps getting cooler and funner and interesting. So, we only really had a few sessions where there was like too many cars because we had paired instructors, and I didn't expect Sunday to be instructors with advanced drivers Sunday, and I didn't expect Sunday instructors to have any energy to go out, and they still were going out. We had like a 45 session instructor advanced one time, but
holy cow,
it was 45 cars. I mean, it was a little busy, so I'm not gonna do that anymore.
It's a full on club race.
It was. I was out in one of them. There's a couple of full ones, and I was in my buddy's. One of my grid workers. They built a first gen CRX. Him and his wife, and I actually sold him the car a while back, and then he turned it into like just the coolest little track rat car I've ever driven. Weighs like 1,600 pounds, and it's got like 140 wheel horsepower. And oh my gosh, was it fun! It was just impossibly fun on 225 or 245 R compounds. There's huge tires. They stick out like way far. He calls it the honey badger, and that thing, dude, it was so fun. I chased Tom O'Gorman in my buddy Jeremiah's H2 Honda Challenge car with like a big B series VTEC motor and stuff, and I chased Tom, and I was in front of Tom like for a long time too. The car so fast. This 1,600 pound little rocket, and we passed like everybody in this giant advanced instructor group. It was just a blast. Like, it was so fun. But we can't put that many people on the racetrack anymore. So we tried to give everybody adequate track time, and tried to give Time Attack good track time and equal track time, and Drift has a good priority for track time. And then there's all of a sudden it's 9 p.m. and you're out of track time. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I don't know what to do. It's a lot of work. But
so what's
overall,
next?
It went really well, I think. I don't know. Well, we've got a few more events this year.
I know by the time this comes out, Audubon will have already happened.
When are you putting this show out?
This will be
2 weeks?
Sunday.
No, Sunday.
Okay. Well, if you hear this and you're within a few minutes of Joliet, Illinois, you can come see like the last drift session. But we've got an event this weekend at Audubon Country Club where we run all three configurations. Saturday. We start late. Members have the track until noon because it's a country club kind of scenario, and we start late and have North Course, which is kind of the smaller, less technical course. We have that until I think 3 or 4, and then from 4 till dark we have full course, which is north and south, and that's one of my favorite. Kind of one of my favorite circuits that I've ever driven is full course at Audubon. It's got a lot of cool elements, and there's still some big straightaways. It's easy on brakes because you can cool the car down. If you're there's a connection point between south and north course, and if you stay to the right, you get air in the car, like you jump, and that's cool. And I've got pictures from our buddy Nate, Envious Media or Envious Photography from he lives up by Wisconsin border. He's at all of our events, but. He's got pictures of my car with air under like all 4 tires. It's so cool. But full course is really fun. And then the connection point between North Course and South Course, it like wraps around kind of the clubhouse area there, and it's kind of a blind left-hander and it's really fast if you know the turn. Like if you're super hooked up there and you know the turn real well. And I love that turn. It's so great. And you kind of shoot out onto South Course, onto the main straightaway, and you're just wide open throttle for so long. Hard braking zone, and then it's wide open all the way around the clubhouse. And it's you hit the hard curb going onto South Course, get the car a little sideways, just stay in it. It's the best turn ever. I love that turn so much. But and then on Sunday we run South Course, and we've got kind of the local club, the Club FR drift team, and some of their buddies. They're doing drift demos, so should be a fun event. We have a car show. It's I think we have like 150 cars registered right now. I can't remember.
It's a decent number.
The last couple of years we've had between 150 and 200 because we did it with Fat Lace, I think, from the car show. Basically, their car show company from California, you know. And this year we're doing it with JDM Chicago, which is kind of a big website, big forum back in the day. And now the owner of that, he's an awesome photographer. He shoots for Super Street and stuff. Janash, he's bringing out it's all local cars. So it should be a pretty good car show. So it's always kind of a fun event, kind of a cross between one of our track battle events and which are like track days with Time Attack and kind of a festival. It's like halfway between. So get a few thousand people hanging out and looking at the track and spending too much money on food at Autobahn. So their concession stand is good, but it's expensive. But
sounds like a good time.
It'll be a fun event, I think. So nice to start late on Saturday too. It's always cool.
Yeah.
And then we've got a new one, August 5, 6 at Blackhawk Farms. It's called Track Day Picnic. And it's really kind of a bare bones track day. And we really like Blackhawk Farms for that. Like, it's such a fun little track. And some of your listener buddies, the dudes who did one lap in that STI or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They came out last year to our little one-day event there. And, yeah, so that's why I texted Adam the other day. I was like, hey, if you're bored and you need a guest. I was begging, and it was the day after Austin was on the Smoking Tire podcast. And I'm like, man, I'm groveling. Adam Nielsen.
Please let me on your podcast.
Yeah, we need more spots sold for Track Day Picnic. Nobody knows about it. But yeah, that'll be a fun event. It'll just be kind of a track day, and we've also got we're going to kind of do like a practice run for Toge style Time Attack, where it's kind of like lead follow Time Attack.
That could be interesting.
It's a thing that we're going to do at an event that we're producing for Motovicity at M1 Concourse, which is called Speed Ring. They did that event out in California last year, and now they're going to do it in Detroit this year. So we're doing the back end and the production and promotion work for that. So
interesting.
Speedring.com.
I know.
And then tomorrow, like every other day, I have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and then go do construction things for 10 hours and then answering a million emails.
Jeez,
it's a busy life.
You have to be the busiest man alive. I mean, really.
I don't know if I'm the busiest man alive, but I'm uncomfortably busy the last year. It's too much. Like, that's kind of why our podcast has suffered. That's why SlipAngle's kind of suffered a little bit the last few months. Is Austin's kind of transitioning to a new life where he lives in sprinter vans and sailboats and does track events that he hosts for Speed Ventures everywhere in the entire country, and for us. And I'm working just way too many hours. I've got a 3-year-old that thinks I'm awesome and wants to hang out, and I have too many race cars, and I'm renting them out, and it's it's too many. It's too much. I just want to cry sometimes.
Don't have a breakdown on the podcast.
Oh, man,
Hold it together. This is not the place.
No,
Michael loves feelings.
Feelings are not my forte. Keep it to yourself.
Once in a while, I get them feels, man, and I just want to cry, bro.
Don't let it out here.
This is not the.
This is not a safe place.
Wow.
But did you guys have any sweet Adams openers that I missed already, or no?
Oh, we
did.
Adam
we did.
definitely had an opener.
What did he bitch about today?
Actually, apparently we weren't done with rat rods because we tiraded on them for another 15 minutes today before my
rat
opener.
rods so much.
Oh, God damn it. Damn it.
I like rat rods to a point. Like 32 Fords are like my favorite vehicle ever, and when they're just crappy enough to drive and have a cool cheap motor in them, I think that's too awesome. I just think that's just beyond cool.
But did you see the picture of the thing that I was
The
ranting.
manure spreader thing.
Yeah. Did you see it?
No, I heard about it on the show.
Is that not the most terrifying thing you've ever heard of?
the mental image that I had sounded
Terrible.
I don't know, it sounded like something that I would not want in the paddock at Gridlife, cruising around.
No, it'd
you
run
definitely
over.
would
Very
not.
fair.
It'd run over people for sure because it couldn't see.
There are some interesting elements to that scene. It like 10 years ago, I went to like the first show that I saw a rat rod at. Probably, my wife was standing up in a wedding, and so I'm sitting, and she's at like rehearsal or hairdo thing Saturday morning or whatever, and so I'm at. We just got married like the year before. This is probably 07. It's like 10 years ago then, I guess. Yeah, and there was a car show like down the street, and I saw a ton of cars go by. Old cars, vintage stuff. And then there was like a ton of these like clapped out like amalgamations that like were driving by.
It's a good word for it.
I thought some of them were really cool. Like a lot of them were there was like 3 or 4 of them on air ride, and so they could they'd pop up like 3 inches and cruise and then like slam onto the ground. And back then I thought that was really hey, that's a pretty cool idea. I dig and I was just looking at how they did it all. The fabrication aspect of it, which is kind of the thing that I'm kind of like. I like building cars. Like I'm actually probably I like it as much or more than tracking and racing them. But I don't know. Some of them were freaking traps though. Like you don't want to get rear-ended in this T-bucket thing. Like this doesn't have a floor. I can see that trans. That trans better be in good shape. Like if that clutch explodes,
you're dead.
Ankles anymore, homeboy. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's my thing about them.
Some of them are pretty bad, but I don't know. I kind of like some of them are really cool fabrication-wise, but it's a weird scene. Like that's a scene that they're usually generally useless besides going to shows and cruise nights.
Yeah. They're very useless. Are you into the argument we had today was about like the fake, like the purposefully going out and finding dumb shit to put on your rat rod?
No.
Like,
no, I'm because I have a track background and like I'm into real like wheel to wheel cars. Like you don't have anything on there that doesn't do a thing. Like unless it has to be in there by the rules, it's gone if it's not serving a purpose.
So your rat rod, you've pulled it out of the field, you've thrown a motor in it, you've just got it running, and then you're driving it down the road.
My rat rod would have a full cage. And like a floor and like, the loudest exhaust I could have and still have my wife go to the local cruise night in it and get ice cream. And that's it. But
you're not adding like bear traps for side steps. Let's say, for instance, just something that came to the top of my mind randomly.
Maybe for a reason.
That would definitely be a good running board, though.
No.
Yeah, damn it! Yes, Jabaay,
Jabaay to the rescue!
Betrayed by Jabaay.
No, if you're looking for a stupid rat rod thing like to MIG weld onto something, a bear trap, that's clever right there. Maybe an old.
How dare you?
Maybe like an old shovel. You could just take like the end of a shovel.
He gets it.
That'd be a good step too.
This guy gets
cut
it.
Your leg.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. No, that's a weird scene, man. I don't know. I just like the stripped out aspect of it, but man, can you imagine how unsafe some of those things would be if they rear-ended like a 1994 Corolla?
Oh, you'd be dead.
Super dead.
Like so dead.
You'd eat the steering wheel.
Or any pickup or
which is probably made of welded chain. Let's be real.
I was gonna say it's rusty welded chain.
You're dead, and you have tetanus.
Freaking atoms stepping on each other right there.
Yeah,
man.
it'll happen.
Rusty welded chain tetanus steering wheels, man. That's some hot shit right there, dude.
That's what they're
that's
into, I guess.
a whole nother
That is
level.
the thing.
Man,
I don't know.
That's so ill. It's wet, dude. I don't know.
Oh,
It's for
super
sure.
wet.
It's wet.
Hashtag
I don't know.
sploosh.
Dude, I don't understand.
Which part?
I just laughed at hashtag sploosh. Gets me every time. Gets me right in the feels. Oh my goodness. It's so weird to be on 10 Tanks podcast because it's actually a show that I listen to. And sometimes I'm on other shows and like I don't have time to listen to them, but I listen to you dumbos.
Well, we appreciate that.
I really want to like
sploosh.
see somebody listen to our show.
There's been people that say they can't listen to it on airplanes.
Yeah, I've been told that multiple times because you look like the crazy
too much?
person.
What's that?
I pretty much only laugh when you guys say wet and sploosh. I don't know. Sploosh is such a funny word.
It's That's the perfect definition. Like it just
It's such
describes.
a descriptive word.
Yep.
Like
It's
yeah,
like it's you know what it is? It's like the positive version of moist. You know, people hate
man, I had
moist.
a girlfriend in high school. If you said the word moist, she would hit you with anything she could grab and just hit you with it. She hated
It's a
that word.
thing.
So
I
much.
don't get it.
People get really uppity about moist.
Moist is such a gross word. It's so awesome. What a gross word. What a gross, awesome word.
Moist, squishy.
Oh man, splooshy.
Splooshy. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. I don't
Bringing
know
it
where
back
we're going with
around.
This guys, this doesn't have an end.
Nope.
No, that's the problem.
August 5th and 6th, yes?
Yeah, I would say go to grid.life and check out our August 5th, 6th track event at Blackhawk Farms. I think it's going to be super cool. Like we're going to show up with a bunch of grills, not girls. There'll be no girls.
No girls. No girls
Except for my
allowed.
girls are coming to camp in the camper, which I want to talk about campers with you guys because Adam gave me a bunch of shit when I bought a camper. But
Like good shit? What do you mean give you a bunch of
no,
shit?
like, he was like, man, those things wreck vacations. That's what
They
it stands
do.
for.
It stands for
RVs.
ruins vacations.
That is
But now we're going to show up at Blackhawk Farms with a bunch of grills and like a bunch of food to cook on them, and we're going to have a track event, and we're going to give high fives, and it's going to be like a cars and coffee that monkey humped a freaking barbecue at a track event where a bunch of stupid Hondas and Integras and Subarus all just met up and had fun. So I think
like
it'll
a
be a good time. We'll see where that one goes. We really kind of wanted to get that weekend at the track. That's why, like, even if like nobody shows up, which I mean, it's already like a third sold, and we really haven't pushed it at all. But if nobody shows up, we want to have that weekend for next year because we got like a plan for it. Like we want to do this only like bigger. We want to have we want to show a bunch of people this beautiful little racetrack and just like hang out, and then throw like a super fun HPDE. So we kind of secured the weekend by having it. So then you get first right of refusal next year. Last year we had a similar Sunday, and that put us kind of on the like, hey, if a weekend comes up, you can have it kind of calendar. And so we got the weekend we wanted, and it should be fun. So we'll see where that one goes in the next few years, but I think it'll just be fun and chill, you know? So if you guys want to come track some RX freaking Mazda 240, whatever V8 thingers you got.
I do. I really, really, really do.
Do it, Robbie.
It's not that far from
I know.
from Iowa.
I might have to.
It's a really fun track too. Like there's a vibe about the place. Like it's been a track since the 50s, but like the buildings are super nice, and like you can see the whole track because you paddock on the inside of the track. You have to cross the track to get in.
Isn't there a silo there, like a grain silo?
Yeah, because it actually was a farm, and like to get on the track, you like drive down this little road, like in the paddock, like around the silo, and then like you're on the grid and you're right there.
We'll feel right at home.
I don't know. It's just it's got this classic old school feel, and it's just such a cool track, and it's really nice pavement. It's smooth. The back section, there's like a really tight little back section, like a couple S turns, and then there's like a tree right in the middle of it that like the track jogs around. It's all shaded. And you can stand next to the rail on the inside of there and like see half of the track from like one spot. Like it's just something really cool about this track. I just dig the place, and I helped kind of be like staff for a track night in America there a while back with Tom O'Gorman, and a bunch of us Gridlife buddies went there and helped him, and then we had our Gridlife Road America track day the next day, so we all went up there, and it was just such a fun it's such a fun track to just hang out at. Blackhawk is just so cool, so there's a really cool vibe about it. And if you want to have a track day and you want to be relaxed and you want to have a barbecue, that's the place to do it because it's just a chill place. And it's a nice place to camp. It gets dark at night. There's like nothing around it because it's all farms around it and forests, and you can see a ton of stars, which is weird. You can't see those where I live. So I don't know. It's just a cool place. But I'm going to bring the RV up there, and we're going to hang out. We're going to record podcast. We're going to grill food. My wife's going to hang out, and she's coming with the baby. I say baby, but she's a 3-year-old now. But
Yeah, I have the baby. You don't.
yeah.
You have
How old's your kid? Like a year and a half now?
almost a year and a half.
Yeah. It gets worse before it gets
He's
better.
finally fun. He's finally fun.
Yeah, that's like the time when kids are like, "Hey, this isn't just a lump of human that I have to keep alive."
Yeah,
and clean up
exactly.
turds
He can walk around and play with things and interact.
from. Three is fun because like you can watch TV together and like you watch her shows, and then, like she wants to see what you're doing or he wants to see what you're doing. You know, it's so Emma comes in the garage with me. She'll sit in the race car a little bit, and It's a fun age, but it's a pain in the ass. Like all she does is like
Ask
think
questions
all day, questions, talk, like snacks, and there's freaking snack crumbs everything.
It's a fucking mess in here.
I walk home and I just pick up wrapper chunks for like 4 minutes when I come home from work. Like, freaking babies.
Is there a bear in here?
Yeah, something got into the cabinet.
Did anybody see that raccoon?
Jeez, shut the door.
Yeah.
Kids are fun, and I think the RV is going to make it fun for kids to be at racetracks with me. So, my kid, not anybody else's kid. I don't want anybody else's.
Don't bring your kid. No. Disclosure.
I have nothing to do with anybody else's children. But yeah, I dig RVs. By the way, they don't ruin vacations yet for me.
It was nice to have it at the racetrack. I'll give it that. I desperately want one.
I didn't desperately want one until it was like, hey, I think I can actually buy that, and that might be not the stupidest investment. Like, it kind of bottomed out in value. Our RV is it's hard to say our RV, but it's an old like 90s diesel pusher thing. You guys were in it the other day, weren't you?
Yeah, we hung out for a bit.
It's got a Cummins in the back, so it can actually like tow things, like with an Allison trans. It's got a heavy duty drivetrain, but it needed so much interior work when we bought it. It was just such a piece of junk. I probably have like 200 hours into it, but it runs great. And we took it on our first actual family camping trip on Saturday, Sunday. It was awesome. We had so much fun. I don't want to do racetrack things anymore because I just want to go state parks and hang out.
Oh no!
Just relax finally.
RVs have ruined Jabaay.
Dude, it was so chill. Like I didn't have good reception, so I'm like, man, screw this email. I'll deal with that crap on Monday. Because like all day, every day, I check email from, especially the week before an event, like a week and a half, week before, you start getting bombarded. Like I got 100 emails and Facebook messages today about Gridlife this weekend.
Oh god.
Maybe 150.
Oh god.
And it'll just kind of make it crazy. Like it starts because I'm doing other things, like I'm doing real work. I'm like, if I don't get caught up in this right now, it's bad. Like all of a sudden,
It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, I can't do it tonight. Then that's too much, right? But I don't know. I didn't have good reception, and so all I did was we made burgers and we made breakfast in the RV, and I fixed things on the RV, and we just hung out. We hung a bed sheet and took a projector and watched movies inside. And it was just freaking great. So everybody should buy a cheap RV. That's my new thing.
Yeah.
I'll start an RV podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say you guys could do some sort of like roaming podcast.
You know,
like,
I would
talked about it
with the ambulance and the Rad V. And
I
the
would
whole
totes
deal.
do an RV podcast. That would be pretty cool, actually.
Dude, I want to, like, my wife and I are like, man, we got some good equity in this house. We could like buy a sweet RV if we sold it. And we just live in that thing.
Oh, trust me. I told Katie we should just take over payments on her parents' camper and sell the house and just find like a campground that needs a host. And I'll just go to work, and her and Logan can do the campground host gig, and I'm done with the house thing.
We had so much fun at the state. We just went to the little state park over by South Bend, Indiana, Potato Creek, and it's just you can walk around the whole thing. It's like probably you can walk like 2 miles in each direction. You're still in the state park, but like it's a nice place to hang out and hike, and not too much elevation change. It's not too hard to walk. But
it's important for a 3-year-old.
I'm 34 and my knees hurt. But they do hurt because I've done construction for 21 years.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll wear on you.
That'll do it.
I don't know. I dug it, man. It was great. I can't see not owning an RV in the future. Like if we sell this one, I'm buying a bigger, better one because it's too rad.
It's a slippery slope, man.
It really is. Like I'm into this. We're into this thing for like bare minimum money. Like I couldn't buy a truck with the same drivetrain. Like I couldn't buy a powered like Dodge truck for the same amount of money. That's how cheap it was. And so we don't owe anything on it, and it's just a house that we don't have to pay for. Like so I look at this house and I'm like, man, I don't have to work a lot of hours if I don't have to pay state income tax, property tax, and mortgage. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a lot of. That's like months of my life that I don't have to do things.
I didn't realize that we had called Austin Cabot for this podcast. I thought this was Adam Jabaay.
Now I see where he's coming from. I think my voice is still bad from Gridlife Midwest.
Yeah, I believe that. You were losing your voice on Saturday.
This is the most I've talked probably since it. Like I've kind of been a mute and like haven't talked to anybody. We haven't done any podcasts because we recorded a bunch there.
Yep.
And like, we're only doing one a week right now. And like my voice is starting to hurt again. I think I need to start. I was told by one of our podcast listeners, Derek Yarbrough, that he's like a speech therapist, and he's like, you need to breathe from your diaphragm. I'm like, I don't really know what that means.
But thank you.
I don't think I have one of those, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm a boy. I don't use one.
Yeah,
of those.
yeah, it's not me. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Derek's got
That's for chicks, bro.
Derek's got the coolest cat in the world. Just throwing that out there.
Does he?
He's got a Bengal.
Oh, okay.
Super jelly.
His wife is so hot too.
Jesus Christ.
I always tell him that how hot his wife is.
Oh, okay.
He's coming to. He was on our show
South.
one time. He was kind of our intern for a while.
Yeah, he was
did some
Derek the
articles and
intern.
helped us
I
out for a
remember
while.
that.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
That's that, Derek?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay.
He's coming to Gridlife Atlanta, which is, I guess, is another thing. Since
Yeah, let's talk about that.
He's coming to that, and he's going to help me in grid. And I told him he could drive one of my cars, whatever I bring. And like, part of me doesn't want to bring a car just to say "fuck you."
I think he listens to us. I'm just saying.
He's a rad dude. I love texting with Derek. But, I'm thinking I'm going to bring the Fraser down for that. I want to put a real roll bar in it. So
Damn
don't
it!
die.
I wanted to see that so bad. I was
Why
really
don't you
sad.
come, dude? Flights to Atlanta are like phrasing.
Thank
You didn't buy the damn T-shirt, Robbie.
Oh no!
Flights to Atlanta are like $100 from anywhere. It's the cheapest place in the world to go to.
Yeah, I know.
Just do it, man.
Do it. We'll see. I'm not
last
saying
year,
no.
Like if you thought the drift scene at Gridlife at Midwest this year was cool, like last year at Atlanta, it was just. I mean, you probably saw some of the donut videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was just stupid, weird, awesome. We never expected that.
There's musical acts I actually know, which
Yeah.
is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
You guys got Ludacris of all people. It's just that
that's
kind
gonna
of blew
be
my mind.
interesting. I hope he wants to take like an old Acura onto the track because he loves old Acuras, I guess.
Doesn't he have a 93 TL or something?
I think
He's got
it's a
something-
legend. at
RL
that
or
point.
a Legend?
Vigor or something like that. I don't know.
It's like his first car that he bought with his own money or whatever.
I think Acura restored it or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
that I
you
do
need to
remember
get
that.
him in a Type R or something.
Yeah, I hope he's fun to hang out with. Last year, Waka Flocka Flame was there with us, and Waka was rad.
What about Andrew WK? Was he awesome or was he
NWK
just a mess?
Even more rad. Had a weird rider. Like he needed
Green
once-
M&Ms or
No, he needed once washed white towels. Like they
so
needed
you
to
buy
wash-
them and then wash them once and
Yeah,
then
we had to buy them. We had to wash them once, and then they had to be in his green room. His green room was like a trailer. You know,
Yeah.
Wow.
he needed a bunch of once washed white towels. I think it was once washed. Maybe it was twice washed. It was a weird like thing. That show was rad. I like Andrew WK was a good time. It was like all like 90s punk rock, you know.
I would have been
It's
all
a very
about
different musical scene you guys have created down there than you have
that
at
one,
Midwest.
That one is it's going to be last year at Midwest Festival. You guys, I think, were backstage
for
during
Savoy, which was
Yeah,
awesome.
That was a great show.
They were so good.
I was
They're
really
gonna be-
disappointed that they weren't on the list for Midwest.
They're
to
going
be
to be
honest,
Friday at Atlanta.
I know.
Yep.
So
I know.
Luda is going to be headlining Saturday, I believe. So
Yep.
I don't have a lot to do with the musical choices. Like Chris talks to me about what he's thinking about, but I think Atlanta's going to be fun. I think it'll be a good time. But it's our second year at that venue, and that venue is so big and so effing expensive.
You could probably do 30,000 people there if the tickets were.
Petite Le Mans, they get throughout the weekend, they get 20 to 30 at a time there, 20 to 30,000.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
It's a big
That's
venue.
crazy.
And you can
Insane.
be inside and outside portions of the track, so you can go a lot of places. Like you can walk around the entire inside of the track, and the track is enormous. And there's a forest in the middle where you can camp, and it's the elevation change, just in the paddock, is even bigger than the track. So it feels like you're kind of in your little own place, if you're up at the top of the hills, or if you're at the bottom of the valleys in the forest. It's a weird, cool place to hang out. And then they've got the whole kind of drift arena that Formula Drift has kind of set up and built around the turn 10A, 10B kind of area with the bridge. And there's kind of it's like a football stadium around the bridge there. You can put 20,000 people around that freaking arena.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
So, eventually, we would like to have a concert down there in like the concerts down in like the kitty litter of the drift area, and then like people are in the arena,
Yeah.
But right now we kind of have the concert stage similar to what we do at Midwest, just the smaller version last year. But yeah, we have no idea how big it's going to be this year. We really don't know, because Atlanta people don't buy tickets until the week before. So.
Well, it looks like it was massive last year, so I can only imagine if the growth is the same as Midwest, that Atlanta's going to be insane.
I just want it to break even and be a rad event. Yeah. So it was rad last year, and we just lost a lot of money.
It's traditionally not what you're looking for.
No, traditionally in a business, that's not the plan.
No.
I'm not a college boy, but that's not the thing. But no, it was incredibly fun last year. It was such a great. I mean, in the paddock, it was full. Like the whole paddock was totally full. It had the same feel that Gingerman did a couple weeks ago, but it's huge. It's a big paddock area. Yeah, the spectators just didn't know about it yet. Like, it wasn't a thing yet down there. So we had done as much as we could, but now people know about it. So hopefully it'll be totally rad and super fun, and that's the plan. But
I know people from here who did not go to Midwest because they planned on going to South. So
they freaking blew it. They should go to both.
I tried really hard.
So that someday I don't have to install doors and windows.
The one I'm talking about in specific, he's a big drift guy. So I think that's why he's more interested in South.
Well, yeah, watching some of those guys come down turn 12 at Road Atlanta, there was a couple times where I was standing up near, most of the time I was in the drift release area, like where basically the drift paddock, the drift grid, which is in the middle of the straightaway, the big huge straightaway. We'd have a bunch of cones out, and then there'd be us standing there. And we'd hold drifters. I'd be on the radio with the tower, with Hazel, who actually just passed away at Road Atlanta, which bummed me out. That was like the worst thing.
Yeah.
Along the corner worker at Road Atlanta, and she was just the greatest. She was one of the coolest people I've ever worked with at a racetrack. So yeah, rest in peace, Hazel. She was like literally one of the best corner workers I've ever worked with in 15 whatever years we've been doing stuff, but. So I'd be on the radio with her. She would, every 5 minutes or a couple minutes, I would check in if we had a crop of cars we were going to release, and because we can't see any of the rest of the track,
Jeez.
Because you can't see any of it. It's so big. But I could see turn 10A, 10B where most of the drift was happening, and so I could hold cars for that. But then I'd have to get a radio check for the rest of it, because they were drifting a bunch of like turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. They would go down the S's. And then the whole back section was a no drift zone until we did full course drift with pro only on Sunday. So, but when we did full course drift, like I was standing down by turn 12, which is the big crazy downhill that you can kind of see the huge tower. You can go under the bridge, if you watch in-car video or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw what's his face, Riley from Canada,
Sexsmith,
who I think I'm currently filling the place on your show of.
Yep,
maybe
he had to work late, so.
Dude, he went down, he had a Subaru rear wheel drive with like a 2J.
It was a 2J swapped WRX.
Dude, he went down turn 12, and he was going faster than I've seen most like real time attack wheel to wheel cars go. And
just flat.
He was just so sideways, and it was perfect. And I remember gasping like, "Oh my gosh," because I thought he was going to ball it up at the bottom of the hill. And then he just mangied the whole straightaway afterwards, and I thought, and like at that moment, I realized how incredibly rad it is to be a good drift driver.
Yeah,
so cool. Dude, some of the video from that is just the coolest thing we've ever made.
It is a lot of fun to watch, even
it's
on
just
video.
So good. Donut Media did a great job with some of their chase cams. They had a Mustang, which definitely was not a rental car. As a chase car, and at Gridlife Midwest, they had definitely not rental car C63 Mercedes.
I assume that was
cool.
a press car. So
yeah, 2 of them, no big deal, right?
Yeah, no biggie. Find something more expensive next time.
Yeah, it was. Some of the videos they made just blow my mind. But anyway, I'm sick of talking about Gridlife. So if you guys want to talk about anything else, whatever.
We probably need to get kind of wrapping up here. We've been on it for a while.
You've been on for now an hour.
Oh, man,
Robbie's counting the minutes, because if the show's longer than an hour and a half, we get lashings at the end.
We're already at an hour.
We're at an hour and a half because we did a little bit before this.
So mad at me.
It sounds like you're getting lashings too.
Man, it's gonna be fun. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys letting me come on and talk to your dudes. So
Definitely.
I did make a T-shirt with my name on it though, so I have a little bit of like, hey.
Yeah, I suppose we got to get you back.
I was disappointed. I only saw one at Gridlife.
I saw 3 on Thursday.
Jake from Rags to Races, the only person I saw wearing it.
Dude, 3 of my track staff guys on Thursday when we were setting up.
We're wearing the shirt.
They were totally wearing it.
I forgot. I was going to put out a post on Track Midwest asking everybody who had it to bring it, and I wanted to get a group photo with you in the middle while we were at Gridlife, and I forgot about it.
They weren't wearing them when it got sort of cool Thursday night, so they put hoodies on probably. That's probably why you didn't see them. But,
missed out.
Yeah. It was that was a fun weekend. I'm glad you guys came.
It was. Back. It was a good time.
I hope it gave you plenty of fodder. But stop talking about how unsafe my track events are.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've told you this a dozen times, but I can't thank you enough for being so
rad,
accommodating for us.
I like your show, and if I didn't like your show, I would tell you to F off.
Well, we appreciate that.
No, you guys did a good job, and it was fun to have you out. So. Next time we got to hang out more. Like, you need to come to an event.
You need to quit being so busy then.
Yeah, maybe you should stop working so much, and then we can hang out or whatever and be friends.
You just got to stay up later when I stop working.
Internet friends.
Every time we see you, we feel like we're invading on your very busy lifestyle.
It's not my lifestyle. It's my job, man.
Your job style. I don't know.
I put it together, and like I realized how much I slept, and I know that I took maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, like where I just hung out during the day, and so I slept like 2 hours. I took like 2 hours. So I worked like in the span of like, I got there like Wednesday. I probably worked 100 hours in like 4.5 days or 5 days.
Yep.
Maybe 85. I don't remember. And it's like that's why I'm so tired for like 2 months.
Yeah.
This is why my voice hurts and like my brain's all foggy and
2 weeks of my life in like 3.5 days.
Shit's crazy.
It really is like humbling to see people come out and they talk about it all year and then they want to go back. And it's this thing that like Chris told me about in my garage, like in 2012. He's like, hey, I want to do this thing. I think I want to call it. He had some other stupid name too. But and he's like, do you want to do more track events? Because all we did was Honda meet. And we had done that together since 04 or whatever. And we were running Lemons races at the time. So we were busy. Like, Chris was on our Lemons team, and like that was what we did. Like we did Honda meet, and then we hosted, or we did Lemons events. And then I got into comp racing, into SCCA racing with my comp license and stuff. So I was getting kind of busy at the time. I was still instructing and stuff, but he's like, do you want to do more events? Because I kind of want to do this other thing. I want to like make a business out of it. And then maybe someday you wouldn't have to do construction. And I'm still doing construction. But
lies.
He said someday. He didn't say when. He didn't say tomorrow.
And I can't believe it. Like I think we were putting a roll bar in his car at that time, or in somebody else's car. I can't remember, but I can't believe what it's turned into. Like it's really became a thing, and it's because people like it, and so that's good. So to anybody that hasn't came, it's a good track event.
Hey, hey,
good HPDE phrasing.
Oh man,
my voice is totally shot. I'm gonna go.
Thanks, Adam.
Bobby doesn't have to edit anything else. But
Don't worry about it. It's worth it.
I hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for letting me on.
Peace out. Grid.life, SlipAngle, track tuned.
Yeah. Track tuned, what's not, slip dangle, whatever.
Slip dangle. Slip angle.
Track angle, slip tuned.
Whatever.
We were doing too many things for a while there. Now we're mainly, we do a few articles here and there, but we're busy at the moment. So.
Yeah, I get it.
We get that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me come on, buddies.
Yep. Thanks for coming on, man.
Peace out, other Adam. Hashtag rad.
Come, Michael.
It's not the first time I've heard that.
You're so gross, dude. That's not what I meant.
It's not what I meant either.
Jeez.
oh no.
Bye.
See ya.
I'm gonna go hang out with my wife. See you later.
You do that. Should we do some news?
We're recording.
Yeah, we're recording.
This is already like the world's longest show, so let's do some real quick news and move on with our
Sorry,
lives.
everybody. The levels are all screwed
There's
up.
only
It's
like
close.
There's only like 3 people even listening at this point.
Nah, people marathon this all the time.
People got upset because we didn't do a longer show.
I had
Like the
quite
last couple
I had
podcasts.
quite a few people who messaged me annoyed at our lack of content.
Sorry,
28
people.
minutes? What the fuck?
Trying to get the levels reset. But it's okay. We're rolling with it because
It's fine.
it's just a thing that we're doing
So,
right now.
we've been talking about cars, track days, RVing. The news now will
Rat
include,
rods.
Yep, rat rods. Well, the news will now be motorcycles.
Okay.
This show.
This is,
Man.
but we're kind of on point for the whole show for once.
Yep.
For the most part.
We're all inclusive.
Car
today.
things.
Yep.
And we had somebody ask us to do more motorcycle things.
We did.
So we're doing
here you go.
motorcycle things now.
We're giving the people what they want, and that's they want everything. So, what?
It's fair. It's a fair point.
Harley Davidson is trying to purchase Ducati from Volkswagen for $1.67 billion.
Whoa.
$1 billion.
That's a lot more
That
than I
is
expected.
a crap ton.
It's a big brand, though.
Is it?
I was kind of
It must
surprised.
be a bigger brand than I think it is.
I think they sell a lot of
They sell 55,
jumpers.
about 55,000 jumpers.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
like
they
the
call them in
racing
the UK.
suits?
Well, the Ducati's a more popular brand in Europe.
That was
than it
my
is-
that was my assumption, was that they
Yeah.
probably sell a lot more bikes in the UK.
Yeah,
The-
UK and
the
Europe
European
and yeah.
market.
You were wrong.
Really?
Really?
They sell more here?
USA was Ducati's largest market with 8,787 motorcycles in
It's
2016.
not very many motorcycles.
Did they? So the U.S. was the largest market because they split all those European countries up individually, and that's how we ended up being the largest.
That is actually true then.
Because I bet you if you combine it as a European market and a U.S. market, then Europe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Europe as a continent.
How do you have that much logic left in you? This is like we're
Yeah, who
going
are
into
you?
hour 2.
Who are
I'm
you?
just
Were
a
you able to pull
logical
that
man.
together?
That's what
Jesus.
They sell in 2016. They sold like 55,000 bikes. 55,450.
250,000 jumpers.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they sell a lot of branded shit like Pumas. And
Like my dad and I were talking about this, and like for 1.6 billion, it doesn't really make sense for Harley Davidson to spend that kind of money on Ducati. But I suppose to me, it's kind of like Ferrari, where they have the Ferrari watches, the Ferrari shoes, Ducati, this, that, and everything. So I mean, I suppose it's also like Harley Davidson. They sell.
this is Harley Davidson's deal here.
Yeah.
This is what they do
It's true.
So way too
That
much
is-
other shit
That is what they do.
to go with the bikes. Except, Ducati makes a decent motorcycle. But that's
Whoa,
neither here nor there.
hey, ha.
I think this is going to hurt Ducati like a lot, like really a lot.
Like it did
Because-
to Buell.
Buell did that to themselves because it's a shitty bike by a shitty guy that makes shitty
Whoa.
designs.
I don't think that's true. I think he's a shitty businessman.
That's
I think
what I
he's
meant.
a good engineer.
He's not. Is he an engineer?
Yeah,
Robbie,
he's an engineer.
Robbie wrecked a Buell, so he just thinks it's not Robbie.
It's no.
the bikes.
I think
It is the most
Eric
uncomfortable
Buell's
bike I've
problem,
ever driven.
Eric Buell's problem is that he was always hindered by accountants telling him to do things, but he wanted to design a bike as pure of a design of a bike as he could make,
Mm-hmm.
and then people would come in and say, "No, we got to do this. No, you got to put a Harley Davidson motor in it. No, you got," and then
Yeah.
it just ruined his brand continuously. And he's a shitty businessman, which is why he's failed 3 times.
Right.
Which sucks.
But anyways,
I feel bad for him.
Ducati's been around like 100 years or something crazy. They've been around forever. They've been highly involved in racing. Like there's clearly a heritage there.
Yeah.
But I think if Harley Davidson buys this and he stays completely separated and lets Ducati run their
That's
own
what
show,
they need to do.
then Ducati will be fine. Because I think they're going to take a hit because it's such a contrast. Harley Davidson's on one end of the spectrum and Ducati's on the other. So I think you put a Harley Davidson name on a Ducati, it actually hurts Ducati.
I think that they just need, and I think they probably will. I don't think that they will buy Ducati and then not sell Ducatis anymore. I think they will buy Ducati and continue selling Ducatis as they are. It'll just happen to be owned by Harley Davidson instead of Volkswagen. Or am I wrong about that?
I don't know.
I think it depends on what Harley Davidson decides to do with the R&D budget of Ducati. If they come in and say, we're going to cut back your budget or we're going to change how you spend your money on race development, I think long term that'll really hurt the brand because a large part of their notoriety is the same as Ferrari, which is racing.
Do we know if they're profitable?
I know they've grown every year since Volkswagen bought them. Volkswagen bought them in 2014 for $1.12 billion. And then now I don't know why, like they've grown every single year since then. And
Maybe
then,
just better access to
Distribution stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
but I was reading an article from 2012, not 2014, 2012 when they said Audi, but it's Volkswagen that bought them.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've grown ever since. And they kept saying like this isn't going to work if Audi and Volkswagen are involved. And they weren't. They basically just gave them the marketing to do
And
whatever
I
they
think
needed to.
that's what Harley needs to do. If it's working, leave it alone.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Harley
Volkswagen
is the
needs a bunch of
greatest
cash.
brand possible at
Marketing.
just leaving something alone and marketing.
And
Not
still
changing
continuing
it, but
to sell it.
continuing to market. So I think that
It could.
this could be a match made in heaven if they
I don't. They say what you want about them, but they're clearly not idiots.
Oh yeah, they can sell a lifestyle, and I think if they can let Ducati continue to sell their lifestyle separately, and just bankroll it for a while to keep get that out there, keep Ducati in racing, keep putting their R&D into what they're doing, Ducati will continue to grow.
I think that's what they'll do. That's what makes the most sense.
Makes sense to me. I always thought
And
Ducati
Volkswagen needs the cash, so
yeah, Dieselgate.
it's a killer.
BMW, Honda, and Suzuki, and like an Indian company are also.
Those Indians,
thinking about
they
it.
really like to buy.
Yeah,
They did a good job
they
with
said
stuff.
that, but it
Jag
sounded
and
like,
Land Rover, so
And don't they own Aston too?
I don't know.
I want to
do
say the
not-
same company that owns Jag owns Aston, but I could be totally wrong.
That's
I
no,
probably am wrong.
because I think Aston's actually independent at the moment.
Are they really?
Yeah, I think they are. I think that's
Kudos
why they had to
to
buy
them.
their. Well, they developed their
That's why
next
they're buying
engines
their
with
motor
AMG,
from
yeah,
AMG.
because they don't have the money to. Which, whatever, fair enough.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't have a problem with that.
Anyways, just a few more facts to finish this off. I was surprised at how not as many more motorcycles that Harley makes. In 2016 they sold 262,000 motorcycles, which is, let's not.
That's a
nothing,
number.
That's nothing to shake a stick at. That's a lot. But 55,000 from Ducati was actually more than I expected. And then their revenue is like $6 billion, which I thought would be
Harley.
Ducatis is or Harleys?
which
Okay.
I thought would be higher.
That's a lot of money, though.
Especially for 200,000 bikes.
Right.
Guess
They're
it's a lot of
Is
50,000.
that net or,
jackets.
do you know if that's net or gross?
I think that was gross.
This is consolidated revenue of $6 billion.
That's gross revenue,
Okay.
not net income.
Okay.
Net income of $752 million.
That's also a number.
It's not anything to be disappointed by.
No.
But I saw something about somebody titled their Ducati Harley possible buyout as a struggling Harley Davidson is looking to buy Ducati.
They've had terrible slips in sales, like 43% drop type stuff.
Really? Interesting.
Like last quarter was the
So
worst
they
they've
sold
had in a while.
250,000 bikes and still lost 40% of their.
I think honestly, I think part of the problem is Indian. I think Indian's done remarkably well over the last 5 years. They've redesigned a lot of their bikes. They got rid
They
of
are awesome looking.
fucking sweet. The Scout is awesome.
If I was a biker guy,
I would totally buy an Indian.
I think I would buy an Indian.
Yeah, I'm
over
down.
anything else that I've seen on the market.
They got rid of. We talked about it on the show. What was
Purely
it?
based on looks, which is
Are you talking
probably
about Indian or are you talking about like
Pol-
Victory's gone?
Victory's gone
Victory
because
was-
Victory's dead.
they were owned by Polaris,
Yep.
and so now
So
they're-
is Indian.
right,
Yep.
and they're focusing on Indian now.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they put that money into Indian to grow that brand.
Which is a smart decision.
yeah,
I liked Victory, but Indian's got the heritage.
Indian's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, Indian's a cool brand. Sweet.
It's cool when you drive through Spirit Lake. You drive by the Polaris factory there, Spirit Lake, Iowa.
Yeah.
And they have a big semi-trailer, and it's got Indian livery all the way down the side of it. And it says, like, America's oldest bike or America's first bike or something like along those lines. And it's just kind of cool to see that and be like, that's made an hour from my hometown.
That's right.
Indian Larry. Do you remember Indian Larry?
Oh yeah.
It's the Tin Indians is one of my favorite movies. Like, it's not a car, but like, automotive, I don't know, whatever movies.
Motorsports. Such.
Motorsports? There you go. That's a good descriptor. I love that movie. I think it's awesome.
What's next, Robbie?
We'll finish this off with one more motorcycle thing. MotoGP rider got DNF'd after crossing the finish line sliding on his stomach in some Ricky Bobby race to the finish stuff.
Hey, he finished as far as I'm concerned.
He did.
The motorcycle and his body crossed the finish line.
Not at the same time.
Doesn't matter. They both crossed.
Well, who do you place then? Is the bike what gets
I'd say
placed?
whoever's last.
Whoever's last? Well, then he got like 10th place.
I think he should get
You-
points for 10th place. What's his name? Bo Bender Snyder? What is it? Bender Snyder, I think. Bo Bender Snyder.
Yeah, Bender Snyder.
So here's how I would decide who gets what for points. I know in drag racing, there were a lot of different, in different classes, sometimes the points went with the driver and sometimes the points went with the car.
Okay.
So that's my question here. And in this scenario, I'm fairly certain it would be that the points go with the driver
Sure.
because he's probably on different bikes on different race weekends.
Okay.
Which means that if wherever he crossed the line
This is the place he
is
gets.
the place he should be.
Well, I think it's such an anomaly that the reason the rule is written that way is because guys like Brian Deegan in Supercross, when he finished a race one time, ghost rode it and just let the bike fly, and then he finished the race. He just stopped there. And then the next year they wrote a rule that said bike and rider must finish the race together. And I think that same rule is in MotoGP, that he could have crashed on the other side of the track, picked it up, finished the race, and it would have been fine. But because he was separated, you could argue that if he would just launch his bike off and it would go in front of the guys that were in front of him and the bike finished first, that'd be people might do that if that's how the rule was written.
Okay, well, how about we just say that the rider, it depends on when the rider finishes.
I would say that he has to pick up the bike and continue on.
What if the bike's already across the finish line?
Bike,
I understand that, but so you're saying if he crashed on the other side of the track, got back on his bike and continued on, because it's not like they cross the finish line and get off immediately. They have to finish that last part of the lap to get back to pit entry. So if he crosses if he falls off the bike, crosses the line, he can pick his bike back up and continue on. Wherever he crossed is his finishing position.
I would agree with that.
and he may have done that. We don't know.
But they took it away from him, didn't they?
Yeah,
They said no,
he DNF'd.
no finish.
Right.
No finish.
No finish for you, sir.
And I think that
DNF
because
did
this
not
has to be one of
finish.
the only times that someone's actually crossed the finish line mid crash, then they had to make a decision. I think that they had, the way the rule is written now, they had no choice but to DNF him. And I think that, I mean, you're going to have the right scenarios if you want. If you want to go
I
down
think
that
the
path.
best option is probably just to say, if the bike and the rider are separated, tough, because otherwise you're going to have
A million
you're going
page
to have
rule book.
yeah,
No, I get it.
and this is things we advocate against. It's true. You can't be most fair in this situation. You just have to be most fair overall. You can't write a rule for every situation.
No. And I think that's probably why I just got, a couple articles and no one really made a huge stink about it. It's just kind of frustrating for the rider. And
Where
the
was
team.
he? Where was he? Where would he have been if he didn't crash? Do we know that?
There was 1 second between first and 10th.
Yep.
So it's not like he was leading.
No. They
Well,
were
it
all
could've been.
they're all battling for first. Like there was
10 riders.
10 riders all within a
All
second
for
of each
first.
other.
This is why I fucking
It's
love
fucking
MotoGP.
crazy.
MotoGP is like the greatest. Even though I don't like being on a motorcycle myself, watching MotoGP is probably
crazy.
one of the best motorsports to watch because they'll pass each other 2 or 3 times in a corner. It's just so much fun to watch because they're so much smaller and they can fit in places that cars could never fit.
So
Yep,
he
so
was probably really 10 tenths. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And that's why
absolutely.
he hit that rider and flew off the bike.
Yep. So he's now currently in 17th points in the series. But in the series itself, they give points 1 through 15th or 1st through 15th, and the winner only gets 25 points. So he's kind of in
Keeps it
a
close,
huge
man.
disadvantage right now for getting 0.
It's a bummer.
But
I don't like it.
that's too bad for him. But at the same time, what
I don't agree with it.
Life
Whatever.
goes on.
what
Yeah.
else can you do here?
We will forget about this by next week.
Oh yeah,
Speaking of next week, can we end this show? It's so long.
Don't blow yourselves up with fireworks.
we got anything going on?
Good
Good guys.
By the time this comes out, Good Guys will basically be over.
You should come see us.
Yep. That following weekend is the Iowa region or the Iowa Challenge. 2 days of solo autocross extravaganza
Oski?
in Oski.
Oski.
But then that following weekend, ladies and gentlemen, is the PDX at Iowa Speedway. And I've been seriously considering that I may put the Omni on the track.
Do it.
I'm down.
You need to
Do
get
it.
the 240 on the track.
I do.
100%.
Absolutely do.
Because it's in Newton. It's
Yes.
30 miles away.
I'm down.
Even if something does break, we
we're
can
fine.
take care of
It's the
it.
same as the drift weekend.
I got AAA. It's fine. Oh, shit.
Is it?
I think it is.
No, that's the 25th.
25th is not a day that's on a weekend.
29th. The 29th is the drift event because
Is it?
I'm not going to hot import nights.
Okay, that makes sense then.
So all
Yeah.
my hot import nights has been canceled. I'm going to the Omaha Drift on the 29th, and then now I'm apparently doing the PDX the week before.
I'm seriously considering putting the Omni on the track.
Let's do it.
It will 100% come down to entry fees and if I can come up with the money. But I'm really hoping
Sell blood.
to do it. At this point, I've done so little autocross this year that I feel like I just need to take it on the track once and feel a little bit better about that. Pop that cherry because it's a way overdue.
You're not
getting out of my dry spell, Robbie.
You're not popping.
He's getting out of that dry spell, Robbie.
No, popping a cherry is the first time ever.
You don't.
That's
know
the longest dry spell.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
At least you hope.
Getting the tires wet again. How about that?
No, you want to keep them dry, bro. Have you ever track dayed? Dry is better.
It's been so long, I don't remember.
I don't feel normal. This is a long
we need
podcast.
to end this.
I wanna
It's
go home.
late at night, and I'm feeling very weird. Can we end the podcast now?
Please.
Okay,
go buy a
okay,
shirt.
bye. Peace out.